Hey, good Monday morning. I hope you had a good weekend, that it was restful, that you got to spend time doing things that you really love with the people that you love. So, we are on chapter 70, removing my bookmark. Thanks, Autumn. The March Through the City. The main hall in Center City Station was enormous. Wide columns stretched up to an arched ceiling. A huge electronic screen flickered with train schedules. The whole place was bustling with humans and robots, and everyone seemed to know exactly where we were going, except for Roz. There was our robot standing still in a station while the commuters hurried past. She was trying to calculate her next move, and she had to think quickly. You see, a normal robot would never loiter there for long. Roz needed to do something, anything, and when a crew of Rosum robots marched past her in single file, she could think of no better plan than to join the end of the line and pretend to be one of them. She followed the crew through a set of doors, and suddenly they were outside. The city was a blur of activity. Automobiles hummed down the streets, robots marched along the sidewalks, humans talked and laughed and shouted. Buildings towered overhead, and above them airships buzzed across the sky. Airships. For a moment, Roz was dreaming again about how easily she could get home with an airship. But reality came crashing back when a white triangular ship darted over. It was gone in an instant, disappearing behind the rooftops, but that was all that it took for the robot's survival instincts to flare. Were the Ricos searching for Roz? Or were they going about some other business? Roz tried to focus on her immediate surroundings. She was still marching behind the crew of robots. With each step, she grew more nervous that they'd noticed her tagging along. She wanted to break away, and as they started weaving and shuffling through a crowd of tourists, Roz slowed and stopped, and the robot crew continued on without her. Now, Roz was on her own, but she didn't know what to do or where to go. When in doubt, Brightbill had always guided her north, so the robot set off into the city in that direction. While marching northward, Roz passed beautiful boulevards and architecture and gardens and art, and yet she had to ignore it all. She had to act like a normal robot, and a normal robot would never wander the city admiring beautiful things. Wherever Roz looked, she saw normal robots concentrating on their tasks and on nothing else. They ran errands, delivered food, swept sidewalks, cleaned windows, fixed machines, built glorious structures, and did many more jobs than you can possibly imagine. Most walked on two legs, but some rolled on wheels or slid up and down the buildings on tracks. The city was glittering modern metropolis where robots lived in luxury, all thanks to the tireless work of robots. Roz was marching when the sunlight faded and the city lights brightened. She was marching when the humans went in for the night and the robots continued to work. She was marching when the sun came up and the humans filtered out of the buildings. A new day began in the city, and there was Roz marching north, blending in, anxiously hoping her son would appear. And now the very short chapter 71, which is called The Observations. Sunlight sparkled off the skyline. New buildings were constructed. Old buildings were taken down. Cargo ships docked in the harbor. Delivery trucks unloaded crates. Bright signs flickered with advertisements. Robots worked behind the scenes. Children played in parks. Adults ate and drank at cafes outdoors. The city pulsed with energy. A wild robot observed it all.